Yo, nah, you're not ready for this one. Kylie Jenner just got caught in the most disgusting boss scandal hip-hop and pop culture has seen in years. We're talking a billionaire allegedly treating real human beings like background extras in a Disney villain origin story. The receipts just dropped, the lawsuit hit the courts, and what's inside? Obliterating. Mama, Kris and Kim are in full nuclear PR cleanup mode, trying to bury this before it consumes the whole brand. And Kylie? Bro really woke up, looked at her staff, and chose violence against her OWN empire. Before we start, this is Melanin Scope Media. Hit like, subscribe, don't miss what's coming. Kylie Jenner, Stormi's mama, the Kylie Cosmetics mogul herself, is being sued by a second former housekeeper in under 3 weeks, with the new plaintiff Juana Delgado Soto filing a full racial discrimination, harassment, retaliation, and unpaid wages complaint. The suit dropped Wednesday, April 29, 2026, in Los Angeles court, with the bombshell details exclusively obtained by the Los Angeles Times. Kylie really thought the first lawsuit was the end of it. Clearly nobody warned her about the second Maid in the wings. Now let's open up the receipts file and walk through exactly what's inside this thing. Look, I've been reading court filings for years and I had to read this one twice. According to the lawsuit obtained by the Los Angeles Times on April 30, 2026, Juana Delgado Soto, who started working for Kylie back in May 2019, alleges that the new direct supervisor Itzel Cibrian mocked and humiliated her for her accent, immigration status, and race and called her stupid. When I read that, I literally pushed back from my desk. Yo, this woman cleaned that house for 6 years. 6. And the supervisor allegedly called her stupid to her face? Bro said what? That's not a workplace issue. That's a movie villain monologue. Then it gets worse. The lawsuit alleges that on Soto's actual birthday, Cibrian threatened her with termination if she left early and said directly, and I'm quoting from the People magazine breakdown of the filing on May 1, 2026, "No one cares about your birthday. Kylie is having a dinner." Yo. When I heard this, I had to do a double take. Is this lady serious? You're telling a 6-year employee her own surprise party doesn't matter because Kylie has a dinner? That's the dumbest flex I've ever heard in my life. But the most heartbreaking piece, and this is where my soul left my body, is the letter. According to the filing reported by The Sun and the LA Times, after Soto's brother died suddenly, the lawsuit claims staff whispered that Soto was lying about her brother's death and kept forcing her to pick up trash they purposely threw on the ground. Read that again. Trash on the ground on purpose while she's grieving her brother. Nah, you can't write this. This isn't a workplace, this is a haunted house. So in April 2025, Soto wrote a letter, walked into the spa room, and placed it on Kylie's massage bed right before her treatment. The letter said, and these are the exact words from the court documents, "I need to express just how terribly I am mentally abused. I really apologize for letting you know about all these situations. I know you wouldn't allow this to happen if you were aware of it." That letter. I'm not buying that Kylie didn't see it. I'm sorry. I'm not. According to Forbes' May 1, 2026 reporting, after that letter, staff allegedly told Soto directly, "Kylie doesn't give a shit about you." Bro said what? That right there? That's where the entire defense lost the plot. You can't be the head of staff at a billionaire's house and put that on record allegedly. That's a quote that's gonna live forever in HR textbooks. Then in August 2025, Soto sent her resignation as a text message. And again, this is direct from court filings. "I am sorry. I cannot do this anymore. Every day you guys mistreat me, and I have bitten all my nails off. I cannot sleep at nights, and I always have anxiety because of the way you guys treat me. No matter what I did, no one helped me." Yo. She said she bit her nails off. That's a trauma response. That's somebody breaking in real time. When I read this, I was done. Now let's connect the dots, because the timeline is even nastier. Here's what nobody is putting together. That second lawsuit, filed April 29, 2026, exactly 12 days after Angelica Hernandez Vasquez's lawsuit hit the same courthouse on April 17, 2026. Both women are represented by the same attorney, Della Shaker. That's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. And patterns are what win cases in California labor court. Now look at the org chart in the filing. The defendants listed aren't just Kylie, They include Kylie Jenner Incorporated, Eatcell Cibrian, TriStar Services, and La Maison Family Services. TriStar? That's Lou Taylor's company. The same Lou Taylor whose name keeps surfacing in every Kardashian-adjacent labor situation for the past decade. The web is right there. Remember the supervisor switch? That happened in late 2023. Then by late 2024, two new managers, Patsy and Elsie, named in both lawsuits by first name only, stepped into leadership. So you had one wave of supervision when Soto says the harassment started, then a second wave when the brother situation went down. Two different management eras. Same complaints. Same plaintiff's attorney. Bro, ANY smart legal team would have flagged this internally and settled. But Kylie's people didn't. That's terrible strategy. That letter on the massage bed? Dropped in April 2025. The retaliation she describes. The disappear if Kylie sees you rule. The doghouse cleaning. The bathroom restrictions. All allegedly came after. So we're talking 4 full months of alleged escalation before Soto finally tapped out in August 2025. That window is documented. That window is what plaintiff lawyers dream about. And here's the part nobody's catching. Forbes' valuation in this same May 1st, 2026 article reminds everybody that Kylie is no longer a billionaire on paper. Forbes pegs her at $670 million. So the Kylie's water allegation isn't just cruel. It's coming from a brand that's already been embarrassed by Forbes once for inflating her wealth. The optics couldn't be worse. So Kylie's team did this after getting sued by Maid #1? That's terrible timing. Brew. Anybody with real advisors would have gone into immediate damage control on April 17th, the very day Vasquez filed. 12 days of inaction. That's when you know the strategic team isn't doing their job. Now check the next layer. Because what's hiding inside the language is even darker. Now check this out. Nobody's talking about this specific phrase. The lawsuit doesn't just say Soto wasn't allowed to drink water. It says staff called it Kylie's water. 2 words. Kylie's water. That phrase is the entire case in a nutshell. It's not about hydration, it's about ownership. Listing the water as someone's personal property in your own home against a worker who's there 10 hours a day? That's the kind of language a forensic linguist would highlight in red. That single phrase tells a jury everything they need to know about the alleged power dynamic. And Kylie really didn't catch how that would land in court? That's embarrassing. Now zoom into the verb in the retaliation order. Soto wasn't told to step aside or give space. The court filing alleges she was told she'd have to disappear if Kylie was present. Disappear. That's not HR language. That's hostage language. Lawyers pick that word apart line by line because disappear implies forced removal, not professional distance. That ONE word is going to be quoted in every closing argument. Next layer, the doghouse. Look at that detail. Of all the cleaning tasks in a multimillion-dollar mansion, the lawsuit specifically calls out that Soto was forced to clean the doghouse after she submitted that letter. Why is that detail in the filing? Because it's symbolic retaliation. You don't reassign somebody to the doghouse by accident. That's a message. That's a deliberate downgrade designed to humiliate. Any decent legal mind recognizes that's not workload management. That's punishment. And listen, that supervisor really thought no one cares about your birthday was something a person could say out loud to an employee with no consequences? Nah, brew. That's not a slip. That's a habit. People don't say no one cares unless they've been saying it. One more layer. The Timothy Chalamet detail. According to the LA Times and Forbes coverage, Soto, like Vasquez before her, alleges she was sent to clean Kylie's boyfriend's residence. Now the filing doesn't name Timothy directly. It says Jenner's boyfriend's house. Forbes added the connection. But why is that detail forensically important? Because if she's a Kylie Jenner Incorporated employee being sent to clean a third party's home, that opens up a whole separate set of California labor questions about scope of employment and an authorized assignment. That ONE assignment makes the case bigger than it looks. If Kylie's people had half a brain, they would have kept that boyfriend address out of the deployment notes before the first lawsuit dropped. Now let's look at how the media is framing all of this. The Los Angeles Times framed this story as a structural labor case, focused on the company structure, the named defendants, and the legal mechanics of a second filing within 2 weeks. Their lens is institutional. They are treating this as a workplace pattern, not a celebrity gotcha. People magazine, on May 1st, 2026, took a completely different angle. They led with the emotional human cost. Their framing is the letter, the resignation text, the bitten nails detail. That's by design. People knows their audience reads for empathy, not caught strategy. Then the Sun and Page 6 framed this as a tabloid moral story. Forbidden from looking, Kylie's water, emphasizing the shock value language to drive clicks. 3 different outlets, 3 different lenses. But here's the wild part. None of them contradict each other. The facts hold across every framing. Forbes went the hardest factually. Conor Murray's piece anchored everything in dollar figures, Kylie's net worth, and the specific quote about Kylie not caring. That's the framing that hurts the brand most because Forbes readers are investors, advertisers, and corporate partners. That's the audience Kylie Cosmetics cannot afford to lose. Now some defenders are already saying this is cap. Some are saying $35 to $45 an hour is good money, and these women should have been grateful. But those are the same people who watched the entire Nobody Wants to Work anymore moment from the Kardashians and somehow still took notes. Look, the wage isn't even the worst allegation. The wage is the appetizer. The retaliation, the discrimination, the brother's funeral situation, that's the entree. If you still think Kylie's team is in the clear after reading the Forbes breakdown, you're just biased. Kylie's representatives told the LA Times on April 30th, 2026, that Kylie had not yet seen the lawsuit. That's the canned PR response. That's the exact same line every celebrity gives when they are stalling. But here's what nobody is saying out loud yet. Mainstream coverage wants you to believe this is a story about ONE bad supervisor. They want you to think this is just Itzel Cibrian going rogue, just Patsy and Elsie being mean. The headlines all point at the staff. They are trying to insulate Kylie from the splash zone. Here's what they won't tell you. This isn't a Kylie Jenner problem. This is a Kardashian operating system problem. And Mama Kris built the operating system. I'm going hard with the industry politics angle, because the receipts are too loud to ignore. You'll remember the same attorney, Della Shaker, represents both plaintiffs. 2 lawsuits, 12 days apart. Same lawyer. Same defendants TriStar Services and La Maison Family Services? That is not a one supervisor problem. That is a systemic routing problem. TriStar is the management infrastructure. La Maison is the staffing infrastructure. Kylie Jenner Incorporated is the brand infrastructure. The lawsuits are saying, explicitly, that all 3 layers failed simultaneously. That's not a bad apple. That's a bad orchard. And the Kardashian defenders are puppets, and the brand machine is pulling the strings. Every time something like this drops, the same playbook runs. Wait, deny, leak a sympathetic counterstory. Watch the news cycle move on. The industry needs you to believe Kylie is the victim of a few bad employees because if you ever connect TriStar to Kim, to Kourtney, to Kris, to the whole portfolio of brands, the entire empire becomes a labor liability. Lou Taylor's TriStar showing up in this filing is the smoking gun. That company has been quietly servicing the whole family for years. Now it's a named defendant in TWO discrimination lawsuits in 2 weeks. Here's the bigger pattern, and this is the part that should make Kris Jenner shake. We watched the Kim Kardashian Nobody Wants to Work rant. We watched the years-long stories of staff turnover. We watched Jordan Woods get pushed out and treated like the help. We watched the way employees on every season of every Kardashian show were spoken to. The culture was telegraphed for over a decade. This lawsuit is just the first time a court is being asked to put a price tag on it. Kris really thought she could brand build her way out of every labor pattern she allegedly modeled. Something's off here. This doesn't sit right with me, at all. Because this is also the exact moment the family is most exposed financially. Forbes already publicly demoted Kylie from billionaire status. Kim's Skims valuation has been under microscope. The Hulu show numbers aren't what they were. The empire is over-leveraged on its wholeness, meaning if ONE part starts leaking labor violations, the whole family brand catches the splash. That's why Kris and Kim are allegedly in cleanup mode right now. They are not protecting Kylie out of love. They are protecting the share value of the family brand. The Kardashian industrial complex is a single connected economy, and a discrimination lawsuit against ANY one of them is a structural threat to all of them. Kris is playing checkers while Della Shaker is playing chess. Every move Kris's team makes from here is predictable. Sympathetic interview, soft launch counter-narrative. Leaked Kylie was devastated inside a quote. We've seen this script. It's the same playbook used after every PR fire since 2007. But the difference this time? This time there's a court docket with exact quotes, sworn timelines, and a plaintiff who already wrote down "I have bitten all my nails off." You can't spin a sworn declaration. You can't soft launch your way out of a deposition. And the truth Forbes pointed at but wouldn't say out loud? Kylie's billionaire image was already manufactured. Forbes itself stripped that title in 2020. So the public is being asked to believe a brand whose core marketing line, the youngest self-made billionaire, was already publicly debunked by Forbes. Now that manufactured persona is the same one being accused of letting workers be told Kylie doesn't give a shit about you. The persona and the allegations are matching up scarily well. And that's the truth they won't tell you. This isn't about Kylie being a bad boss. This is about the entire Kardashian-Jenner labor model. The housekeepers, the assistants, the glam team, the security, being run through a centralized infrastructure that just got pulled into court for the second time in 12 days. So what happens next? Mark my words, this lawsuit is heading straight to a confidential settlement. Kylie's legal team is gonna push hard for an NDA-locked resolution within the next 60 to 90 days because the only thing they cannot afford is a deposition where Kylie has to answer under oath whether she saw that letter on the massage bed. When that settlement hits, Kylie is gonna look desperate because the silence is gonna scream guilt to every viewer who already read the Forbes breakdown. Even with an NDA, the LA Times is gonna keep digging. Page 6 is gonna keep leaking. And every future Kardashian-Jenner employee is gonna walk in with these allegations in their mind. Kylie Cosmetics is gonna take a quiet revenue hit too. Not catastrophic, but the kind of slow leak that shows up in Q3 earnings and never quite recovers. The brand is built on aspirational intimacy with young women, and young women do not tolerate bad boss energy in 2026. Kris is about to learn that lesson the hard way. If the lawyers don't move fast enough, this goes public, and that's when it goes nuclear. If even any more former employee files within the next 60 days, this becomes a class action conversation, not a one-off lawsuit. And Della Shaker is gonna be the one running point. We've already got TWO plaintiffs sharing one attorney. That's a build-a phase, not an endgame. If the third plaintiff drops, Kylie Jenner Incorporated is gonna be staring down the barrel of a labor patent case that even the best PR firms in Hollywood can't bury. If this goes that direction, Kylie is not ready for what's coming. She's never had to do a sworn legal interview about her household operations. We saw what depositions did to other celebrities recently. Kylie doesn't stand a chance in that environment if she has to answer questions about whether she ever saw that letter, whether she ever heard the phrase Kylie's water, whether she knew the boyfriend's house was being staffed by her own employees. Every answer is a trap. Looking at the bigger picture, this is gonna be the moment that opens up the entire celebrity staffing industry to scrutiny. When the LA Times, Forbes, and People all framed this around the company structure, TriStar, La Maison, Kylie Jenner Incorporated, they planted a seed that other journalists are gonna water. Within 6 months, expect deeper investigative pieces into how high-net-worth households actually staff their homes, the contractor loopholes, the multi-LLC routing, the wage classification games. Kylie just became the case study. 5 years from now, people are gonna look back at this April 2026 moment as the start of the Kardashian-Jenner brand decline, not the cause of it. The cause was the operating model. The lawsuit just made it visible. Kylie is watching the culture move on without her brand of billionaire mystique, and there's nothing Kris's team can do to spin this back into the old narrative. And let's be real, when this culture finishes processing what's in those filings, Kylie Cosmetics partnerships are gonna get harder to close. Retailers don't want labor heat. Distribution chains don't want labor heat. Sephora doesn't want labor heat. The economic ripple is going to outlive the lawsuit. Whatever happens, one thing's clear. The Kardashian operating system already lost. Even if Kylie wins in court, she's already lost in the culture. The phrase Kylie's water is going to live forever. The bitten nails detail is going to live forever. The letter on the massage bed is going to live forever. You can't NDA your way out of a quote like "I cannot sleep at nights." That's not a legal problem, that's a legacy problem. If you made it this far, you already know this is Melanin Scope Media, where we don't follow narratives, we break them. Hit like, subscribe, and stay locked in. Because what's coming next? Trust me, they don't want you to hear it.